Come on, honey.
Thank you, my darling. We're having a little party up here, you know.
Well,
Thank you.
and I took the tanker.
Oh, good. I was wondering because okay, that's perfect. Great. Well, hi, everyone.
Yay!
I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can see y'all, because otherwise I can, but a little blurry. Couldn't make you out in a crowd, which I don't like. So, welcome 2023 Magic Experience at Conscious Life Expo. Very cosmic. So this weekend, it is full packed, and for those of you who are new, be sure and explore all 3 floors, right? It's like down the rabbit hole. That's a whole new thing, but it's great. It's very exciting. Usually we have the panels downstairs. This time they're upstairs, so it's wonderful. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to have you here, because without you, we wouldn't be here. So give yourself a hand. Thank you. Okay, so I'm an astrologer. I have online, your astrology curator. I love astrology. I love it. It's magical. It's historical. It's cultural. It's scientific. There's so many aspects of it that excite me. And when I read about what's happening and the cycles that are happening, fortunately, I'm also a writer. So I've been writing since I'm 10 years old. So I can go back a few years to look at another cycle that happens similar to this cycle, and it's so exciting. So if you're not a journalist, if you don't journal, I'm going to recommend that you do, because when you go back in, whether it's a couple of years for the Venus, whatever, 12 years for Jupiter, or 29 years for Saturn, I can do that. It's like being in that space. It's a real back to the moment experience. So I want to invite you all to do that if you don't already. How many of you journal? Good. All right. Well, this is deciding it wants to do its own thing. Anyway, so we have a lot of astrologers. We have an astrology tomorrow. Master Clarice Chan does Chinese astrology, 11 o'clock. In one of the centuries, and tomorrow afternoon, Rick Levine, master astrologer, does a workshop. On Sunday we have an astrology panel, and then we have David Palmer do a workshop, and Cameron Allen, who's a herbalist astrologer, for his first time here. And then Monday we have 2.5-hour sessions with Rick Levine and Kaylin Castell. So those are just the people that I have brought in. And then there's other astrologers here that I'm looking forward to finding out about. So how many of you know your moon sign? Oh, pretty educated crowd here. Okay, so, and your rising sign? Oh, okay. So how many of you don't? All right, 50-50. Okay, good. That's good. So this is going to be, what I like to do is bring the heavens down to earth. Because people, it's like, astrology is another language. And if somebody was going to start talking to you in French, and you didn't speak French, you would just kind of tune them out. Or if somebody started using language that you didn't understand, you just tune them out. The brain just automatically does that. So I see that so much with astrology. And as I say, and I'm often thinking, well, what else can I call it so that people don't just dismiss it? Because that's what happens after a while. People dismiss it. This has been around since forever, right? The stars, the sky, when you look out at night, you go to a dark place and you look out and you actually see the sky. And you start to see, I went to a party a couple of weeks ago, and I came out and there was Orion. Right, Orion's belt, pretty noticeable in the sky. And up there near Taurus, and this is the constellation of the bull, because there's a difference between constellations and zodiac signs. We'll talk about that. But there was this really red planet. There was Mars. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Mars quite as bright and pronounced in the sky. It was just really wonderful. So we're going to hear Caitlin Castell talks a lot about the stars inform us as we inform the stars. So it's about communicating with them, not just reading, not just looking down at the chart, but connecting with the moon, the phases of the moon, when the moon is full, different things like that. Venus, Jupiter, all the planets. And, you know, some of them are there in the morning, some of them are there at night. It's really wonderful to start to look up at the sky and to understand it. So, Astrology, You, and the Universe. Last year I did supposed to be 8-week, it ended up being 9-week online Cosmic Revelations, Astrology, You, and the Universe. But I live in Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is about bringing the heavens down to earth. And so I thought, that's the same thing for astrology, right? It's about getting it out of the cosmic woo-woo thing down into the practicalities of our life. So we're going to look at some things today. And, you know, there's a lot of new things here at the Expo. And chances are, even if you know astrology, the chances are you're going to leave here with some new information about things. It just like does its own thing after a while. You're going to learn new things. And nowhere is that more pronounced, I don't think, than really with astrology. So, I've been into astrology for decades. It's really, in the 70s I started exploring astrology, then I kind of put it away for a while, and then right around the harmonic convergence in 1987, I was in Colorado. I walked out of a used bookstore with 4 books on astrology. I was like, what is this about? Well, later on, when I went to look at what was going on in my chart, I found out that my sun, my energy, my vitality, my progressed sun was right there, connected, conjunct with Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of astrology. It was like, oh, I mean, I didn't know. You know, I don't lead my life for astrology to tell me what to do. That's not what it's really about. But I do look at really what's happening more often than not, I find, as time goes on, that I can see the synchronicity that's there. And so, you know, this is a powerful day. Tomorrow, Mercury, the planet of communication, shifts signs. It shifts from Capricorn, structure, form, structure, into Aquarius, right? Aquarius is we the people, it's communicating, it's technology. And there's a lot of shifting going on this year. We'll talk a little bit about that. But I want to prepare you mostly for navigating the waters of astrology over the weekend so that you feel comfortable with it. Okay, so we hear things about signs, and we hear different kinds of astrology. So we're going to touch on what that's all about. What are you doing? Okay, so I like this. This is a great quote from Dracul. This is not. Why is this doing this? It's just kind of.
Might be on a timer.
Technology. Yes. Okay. Stop it. Is it on a timer? How do we do that? All right. Okay, well, I'm going to have to just keep going back. I guess I'll keep me on my toes. All right. All right. We're all religions and all scriptures of the world to be lost, and where there nothing left to us except the starry heavens, the story of the zodiac, and the significance of the names of the various stars found in different constellations, we would be able to retrace the history of man, recover the knowledge of our goals, and learn the mode. This is really annoying. Learn the mode of achievement. So astrology is at the beginning of everything. Okay, so if we were to look back in the days of yore, this would be what the sky looked like, right? There we are in the center, in the earth. Let's see, can you see my pointer here? Oh, good, okay. So there we are, and there's the earth in the very center, and we're standing on earth. So it's kind of like the chart, right? There's the circle. And charts have been squares, and they've been a lot of different ways, but These days, mostly we use, in the Western world in any event, we use the circle. And each one of those planets, you see the moon goes around the earth, and how many days does it take for the moon to go around? About 28, 29 days, it's a moon, right? That's where the word month comes from. It's a cycle of the moon. And then we have Mercury, and Mercury goes around pretty quickly, right? And Venus, and then the sun. How long does it take for the sun to apparently revolve around the universe? Yeah, 365 days. When you have your birthday, you're having a solar return. It comes back to the exact, and actually, most of us, our solar return is the day before or the day after our birthday, not necessarily on the day, because it's not exact like that. But what you see in a solar return is when the sun returns to the exact degree and minute of where it was at your birth. That's your solar return. And what you do that day sort of sets forth the whole year. So you want to make sure that what you do on that day is what you want to create for that year. And I always like to celebrate for a while. Definitely start on your solar return. So check to see when that is. Okay, so you notice here, the planets stop at Saturn. Anyone know how long a Saturn cycle is? 28 to 30 years, right? So it's kind of like the moon. The moon is 28 to 29 days. Saturn is 28 to 29 years. And humans basically have 3 Saturn returns. If we live what's considered a long life at this time, I think that can change. But at this point, 3 Saturn returns would be 90 years oldish. Right? But we might be going for a 4th. I think, anything's possible healthily. We want to be healthy longevity, right? We don't want to just live a long time. So that's why body, mind, and spirit. That's why Conscious Life Expo is about body, mind, spirit, and then some. Okay, so in days of yore, they only looked at 7 planets. And of course, the sun and the moon is considered a planet. They're the luminaries. But for convenience sake, we call them planets. Why did we only have 7 planets back in the day? Any idea?
They couldn't see them.
You couldn't see them, exactly. As far as the naked eye could see was Saturn. Occasionally now we can see Uranus. But in 1781, Uranus was discovered. Telescopes were discovered. And Uranus, as a planet, is the only one that really circles on its side. So true to form, Uranus does things differently, right? Because it does. So Uranus is the rebel. It's the astrologer. It's different. It's not status quo like Saturn is. So beyond Saturn, then we have Uranus, and we also have some of the asteroids that were discovered. Okay, which more and more astrologers are using in there too. But initially there were only 7, so we have, 7 days of the week, right? Astrology really has been a key part in the history of humanity. Most people think they don't really understand that, and of course we know that we revolve around the sun, but we live here on Earth, so we look at it from our perspective, the geocentric perspective. And here we are as human beings, and here's the planet, and they affect every aspect of our life. They affect it. They don't, it's up to us, right? But why would you live your life with blinders on if all you needed to do is turn on a light to be able to see in front of you and behind you? That's kind of what astrology does. It helps you really to look, to see. And I like this image because it actually also shows that, and Cameron Allen will be talking about this, about the medical aspect of astrology. And, I actually have a program that I use sometimes that is a medical body, mind, spirit, body, spirit. It's called Body Soul. And it's just amazing saying what your body really benefits from when it comes to herbs and vitamins, what you need specifically. So it can be that specific in our lives. Okay, so here's a chart. This is a blank astrology chart, a wheel. It's not even a chart, it's just a wheel. Okay, so if we look in the center, it's kind of like that center there. We were looking at the earth, and there we would be in the earth. And all of these here would be, this would be actually be, so imagine we're here and we're looking to the east. Now it's different than when you look at a map, but you'll be looking up at the sky. And right on the left-hand side here, that's the ascendant. Okay, that's when the sun is coming up over the horizon here, and it's going to go all the way here to noon-ish, not exact, depending on how far north or south you are from the equator. And it's going to come down to sunset, we say here, and then down to midnight, and then do the whole thing again. So this is the daily rotation of the sun and all the planets. But actually, the sky moves the opposite direction. So it's kind of like these two, it's like the insides of a clock. But when you look at a chart, if we have planets in here, it doesn't tell you if it's a man or a woman, a child. But you can tell if it's a child by the planets, but you don't know if it's gender. You don't know if it's a dog or a cat. Is it an event? Or is it a birth chart? So it's all here. You can find out about anything. Cast a chart, excuse me, for the moment of anything. Now, we're going to look at different pieces of it, but pieces and bits and pieces really don't define the whole person. We need to synthesize the chart to do that. So people say, well, when's your son? Where's your son? Leo. So people say, I'm a Leo, right? And I'm born in May. I'm a Taurus. I don't really even identify with that anymore. Although I do feel the practicality of the Taurian, the nature of it. Can we see you over there? You okay over there? Good. All right. I just realized that we might be a little behind there. Okay, so let's look at, so here we are. Here's a wheel, birth wheel. And so we said that this would be the rising sun. Look, it also relates to the spring, it also relates to the spring equinox, okay? But where's the summer? Summer is not up here. Summer is down here because it shifts, right? So down here would be the summer solstice. So we have spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now it's interesting when you look at a chart because north and south are actually a bit different. But okay, so we have spring equinox, and that is the first house, area, let's just say area for now. And then we have the summer solstice, and that's down here. And then we have fall, and it's here, and then cardinal. So in astrology, each one of these areas, they used to be called places, now they're known as houses. And they're areas of our lives, specific areas of our life, of not even just our life, in this case, of the seasons. So we have spring is cardinal, right? It's a shooting forth of springtime, and then fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. Anything sound rhythmic here? Cardinal, fixed, mutable. Each one of the seasons has a cardinal sign, a fixed sign, and a mutable sign. Leo would be, where's Leo? I'm thinking of my chart, I'm seeing my chart here. Okay, so we would have Leo would be fixed over here. Now once you get to know astrology a bit, these things just all make sense, right? And we follow them around the circle. Now this is the northern hemisphere. If we were in the south, spring would actually be fall. So it's a bit different now. So we'll just consider we're here in the north. Okay, so let's look at the same circle. Now here, rather than spring, we have the ascendant. And in that cardinal place, we have Aries. In the fixed place, we have Taurus. In the mutable place, we have Gemini. Well, what does that mean? Well, remember when we went back here? Where are you? There you go. Okay, this is spring. This is Aries, right? That's fire, right? That's kind of like initiating. And fixed is Taurus. It's in the middle of a season. It's fixed. Once we get to Taurus, it's not like the beginning of things. And then we come to mutable. Well, what does that mean? That's changeable. We're changing the seasons, okay? And people tend to be more changeable. Okay, so let's go back here. So we have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. And now look, there's also numbers on each one of these areas. And you get to realize that people start talking about the first house and the second house and the third house. Right? And each one of these areas, we're going to see, they all have a lot of descriptions that are connected to them. Now notice something on this particular chart. Here's Aries, and it points to, and it's connected to Cancer. It's also connected to Libra and to Capricorn. And they're all, what are they? They're all the beginning of a new season. So we just kind of are coming out, we just passed winter solstice around Christmas time, the 21st-ish is Capricorn. Now we're here in Aquarius. And actually in the East, it's very much celebrated the Chinese New Year. And how many of you were at the opening ceremony? Great, so you got to have an experience, a little bit of the Chinese New Year. This is the year of the rabbit. And I'd recommend tomorrow going to Master Kuish Chan's workshop on what this all means. Like, what does it mean, the year of the rabbit? Ironically, we started down the rabbit hole, the year of the rabbit. It wasn't planned like that. It just really, that's what I mean with astrology. It just kind of like, I find it just kind of like synchronistically works like that. So each one of these, so yes, they're the change of the seasons. They're also called square one another. They're 90 degrees away from each other. So these particular signs, these particular things, squares can be challenging. They produce growth, they make us grow. So it's not a bad thing, but it can be more challenging than a different kind of aspect, and we'll look at that too. Now, if you've seen your charts, how many of you have your chart done? Have had your chart done? Okay, so I'm sure there's opportunities here this weekend for those of you who don't. I really recommend it, because when people start talking about astrology, you want to see which area of your life these particular planets and things fall in, because it's just so exciting to really discover what that's all about. So this is, let's see, if we look at those same areas, okay, so here we have what's called glyphs, because it makes it easier to write the symbol of Aries, which is the ram, and the symbol of Taurus, which is like the bull. And each one of these, the circle and the half circle, and Gemini, the twins, and Cancer, the crab, right? And so if we go Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, it's the same way that we did it going around here in the chart, right? Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. We can do it with this way. And so now we have fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. And if we did that same cardinal, fixed, mutable. astrology really makes a lot of sense. But it takes, you have to learn the language. So we have fire, earth, air, water. And each season we have fire, earth, not really. So we have cardinal, so these are the cardinal, fixed, mutable. Yes, we have the season of spring, the season of mid-spring, late spring, summer. Right? And so each one of them are kind of like that. All right, so we have the 4 elements. Now, knowing somebody's element, and it's not just what element is your sun, it's what element is your communication, your Mercury. Are you do you communicate by feeling, water? Or do you communicate by fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? Are you earthy, Taurus? So each planet has these individual signs connected with them. And so it's definitely order in the universe. Okay, so here we are. This is a lake here. And this is, like a fisheye lens. And here's looking up at the heavens. And what is this? This is the ecliptic. And the ecliptic is taking the equator and putting it out into the universe and seeing all the constellations out there, right? And so here they are, because the sun is moving along here, and all the planets are moving along here. Now, any idea how many constellations there are? Anybody know? Well, actually, we acknowledge 12. On the ecliptic, there are 88 constellations. Are there 88, any 88, that number 88, does that ring bells for anything else? Piano keys. So the music of the spheres is connected to the sky, right? It's kind of like, and earlier for the opening ceremony, master astrologer Rick Levine played native flute to just kind of like ground us in that beautiful energy of the sphere. So looking up at this, keep this image in mind, we'll come back to it. But okay, so here's back to the chart. And here's where we said the sun rises. So it's going to go along here, right? This would be noon and coming down to midnight. But look what happens here. If we took the chart and we superimposed it upon the earlier image of the constellations that we see up in the sky, it gives us houses, it gives us areas of the sky. So the heavens and the earth all really come together, okay? Just to give you back here. So here's the constellations, and that's it, just doing the circle on top of it. Same thing. All right, well, let's take a look at what's going on in 2023. Now, this is probably, many of you are going to hear about this year, okay? The astrological alignments of 2023. Mars retrograde in Gemini. What does that even mean? Okay, so here's Mars. Here, now we're going to look at, we're going to add a couple of the modern planets. So Mars is a planet. And which direction is it going? Is it going direct? No, it appears to go retrograde. It appears, it's kind of like if you're in a car and there's another car and you're moving faster than that car, and the car looks like it's going backwards. Or on a train or a bus, or any kind of like optical illusion like that. It's kind of like what happens, it's not really moving backwards in the sky, but because it's changed its momentum, that's what happens. Well, Mars has been in Gemini for months, and for a long time, it was going retrograde. So, especially if you were a Gemini, any Geminis here? Okay, great. Okay. Gemini rising. Okay, great. Chances are we all, well, I know we all have Gemini somewhere. I have a Gemini North Node. So all of these, everything affects, everything touches on everything. So that's why you want to kind of like have a sense of your chart. But what happens when a planet goes retrograde, you can feel like you're spinning your wheels, right? Because it's just not going. But right now, all the planets are direct. So things are moving forward. This is a good time to like, you know, plant your seeds, get ready to take action. And a lot of astrologers say that the new year hasn't really begun yet. And that's because Mars, which has been retrograde for such a long time, doesn't leave Gemini until March 25th. Okay, well, but it's been, for me, it's been in the area of my chart known as the 12th house. So it's been like, it's getting ready to go over a really key part of it, my chart, but it's been in the more subconscious level. So it's been like this, but in many ways it took me a while to really get things going in some cases. So that's what happens. But there's a couple other things happening in March. March 7th, Saturn is going to shift into Pisces. Now, if we look at the chart here, remember each one of these areas is a particular house. Pisces would be kind of relates a bit to this 12th house. It's the final sign of the 12 of the zodiac, right? But it's shifting signs. Now here's the thing. Saturn has been up here in Capricorn. It's been over here in Aquarius, but it's moving over here. And guess what? It's not particularly happy there. Because it's said to rule Capricorn. Saturn is structure. Saturn is like government, big business. Right, so any of that stuff coming to the fore the last few years, right? And then Aquarius, so it's been in Aquarius, and Saturn in traditional astrology, ancient astrology, also rules Aquarius, or is related to Aquarius. So it's been very prominent. It's been feeling its oats there in those, since that's like 6 years, like 2.5 years in each sign. But come March, it's moving into Pisces. Well, you know, I think that's really a cool thing myself, because Pisces is like, it's going to actually come together with Neptune, which is a much more of a spiritual planet, right? It can be confusing, but it's also, it's a very different energy. And I have good feelings about that. I think it's like, okay, I don't mind if Saturn gets a little confused. So it could get chaotic this year, just saying. But, you know, those of us who are into perhaps higher consciousness, and I'm sure that's mostly the case, as most people are here, meditation, right? Inspiration, dreams, these are all things of Pisces. And Saturn going there is going to give structure to that. So this is a real good visionary time. Now, also, what's happening, and Saturn hasn't been in Pisces in 29 years. So where were you 29 years ago? Some of you were probably very little, but some of us weren't. And so I can look back at where I was at that time, and it's really very fascinating to see. It's wonderful to look at these cycles in our lives. Now Pluto, none of us is going to have a Pluto return. You know why? Because Pluto takes 248 years, give or take, to go around the whole planet. But guess who did have a Pluto return recently? The United States of America. The good old USA has been in a Pluto return. So some of the things that have been going on between the great American eclipse going across the whole United States in 2017, when it feels like everything started really hitting the fan, to now with the Pluto return, which is, revolution, it's rebellion. It is insightful, but there's like a lot of, it's the genius also. So there's a lot of different aspects to it. But Pluto in March is going to just dip its toe into Aquarius just until June 11th. Then it's going to go back into Capricorn. So we're going to have the chance between March 23rd, and we're feeling it now. It's really very prevalent here at the Expo. You can feel it when you go around. You're going to see so many new things, so many new ideas. But March 23rd, just right after the vernal equinox, on the 21st, till June 11th, is going to be in Aquarius. So we're going to see, so notice what happens to technology during that time. It's already happened. I mean, Chat GPT, most people familiar with that? Anybody? Okay. It's astounding if you ever look at examples of what it is. I mean, it's really, talk about technology. Wow. Well, that, and that happened at a very particular time. I forget what exactly the aspects were for that, but it was like, you couldn't have planned it any better, right? So anyway, so technology is going to be really huge, but it can also be rough going. There's going to be some rough moments this year, but we know that after the dawn, after the darkest hour is the dawn. So we know to be hopeful. We know to prepare. It's a good time to connect with other people. Aquarius, right? Coming together in community. You want to reach out a bit. You want to have your communities all set. And then Jupiter is now in Aries. So Jupiter is the planet of big, better, best, right? Big planet. And it's in Aries. So now it's like, anybody feeling like really overwhelmed and busy the last few months? Right? Oh my gosh, really quite amazing. But come May, I think it's May 16th, Jupiter shifts into Taurus. So that means warm and fuzzy, that means lusciousness, that means earthy things. So in the midst of all of this technology, get out in nature. It really is a time to be in nature, to enjoy all of that. Now Venus is going to go retrograde again, so it's going to kind of slow a lot of things up in June and July. Okay, it goes into Leo in June. Ingress means goes into. I remember when I was first starting to study astrology, and all these words were like, what the heck does that mean? A native. What's a native? Can't you just say birth? I mean, that's why I know each one of these words can be kind of challenging if you don't know. So ingress means it initially, I don't think you really like that one. It means it moves into, so it's going to go into Leo in June, but then in July, it's going to go back. Now, when a planet goes retrograde, so it's going to go like up to here, stop, and it's going to go back over to all the same areas of life, stop, and then it's going to go back again. So when you have a retrograde planet, you want to know where that planet is in your particular life, in your chart, so you can kind of see what's going on. It gives you like a heads up. If it's going to rain, take an umbrella. It's pretty simple like that. And then there's the eclipses. Well, the eclipses are going to be starting to happen in a different sign because we're not going to get into the nodes, but the eclipses this year are going to be in April and May. Last year they were in Taurus, right on my sun, and Scorpio. This year they're going to be in Aries, and then they're going to go in Libra in October. So there's usually 4 of them a year. And so, so you want to know, where is that happening for you in your chart? Makes a difference. Okay, so I wanted to put that in there for the people who know a bit of astrology, because you want to really know what's happening. But let's go back to the chart. We said in the chart, you don't know who it is. Let's take some of the planets. We got to put planets in the chart. Okay, so if you look at the planets here, so here's the sun. What is it? It's a circle with a dot in it. Spirit, right? There it is, right in the center. The moon, the soul, half circle. Earth is a circle with a cross in it. On the cross. If we look at, I'm going to just jump back here a little bit, just to show you that cross. Here we are back at the cross. That symbol also, does it remind you of anything? It looks like a swastika, doesn't it? Except it's the other direction. And if you notice where it is, it's going in the direction of the seasons. It's not going anti-seasons, right? It's going all the cardinal signs. And each one of these areas of the chart are the most important. So when you have a planet in those areas, really important. So let's take a look. We're going to go up here and look at that. Okay, so here's the planets. Now we're going to take the planets and put them in our chart. What does that look like? So here's the Earth with the cross, that cross. And I once did an online talk about incarnating into the cross of life, right? And that's what happens when we come down. We're on the cross of that. And Caitlin Castell does a wonderful presentation, and I think she'll be talking about that on Monday. And it really brings in the sky a lot to really show the lines of the ecliptic and the, there's a cross in the sky, and we are on that cross. And we're going to be on that cross. It's like a 200-year cycle in a 26,000-year cycle. We are going through, the whole universe is going through a 26,000-year cycle. And we are in the middle of the last couple of hundred years of that, which is a time of change. It is truly a changing of the ages. And that's why it can be chaotic, right? But those of us who are here, we're the ones who volunteered. We kind of forget, you come in, you forget. But we're here for this. It's what we signed up for this time, right? So I truly feel that people who are here, many, many people who are here this weekend are going to leave here very much shifted by the end of the weekend, very much more aware and enlightened. Right? That's why we're here, right? All of us. So, and if you look at Mercury, Mercury has the circle of spirit, and it's sitting on top of the cross of the material world, and then there's a little crescent moon on top of it. So it's receiving the information, it has the spirit, and then it's bringing it down to that cross. Each one of the planets like it. Venus, circle, on top of a cross. Some people say it's the hand mirror, but it's the symbol of the glyphs. Now, like the symbols for the signs, these are things that you really, it's a good thing to become familiar with. Because, rather than writing them all out, Mercury, so easy to just kind of like do the glyphs. Same thing for Capricorn. You kind of like get that down. So Mars used to be the circle, and it used to have a cross coming out of it. But now it's more of a masculine figure, looks like. Neptune, again, a more stylized version of it. You would have, this part would be a half circle, and here would be a cross. And then Saturn is the exact opposite. Cross on top, circle down here. And Uranus would be two half circles with a cross and a circle. They all have the same components, but all mean a bit different things. And then Neptune would have kind of like the semicircle, and here's the cross with an extended part of it. So, so let's look at how this pertains a little bit more to us. Okay, so the glyphs are really important. And let's look at here. Okay. So we have, again, I think this just brings it a little bit more in. So we've got Aries, cardinal sign, first house, Taurus, fixed earth, right? So Aries is cardinal fire, Taurus, fixed earth, Gemini, mutable air. Well, each one of the elements are going to have cardinal, fixed, mutable. So here's fire, here's Leo, fixed fire. Here's Sagittarius, mutable fire. So see there, so they all have a bit of a different quality to them. Whether it's an Aries, like the baby, the Aries, me. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But this is like the first cardinal, the first quadrant, they call them, okay? And then we have also the upper, if you have planets up there, and if you have planets down below. All make a bit of it different. Okay. So, let's see. So each one of these houses now have, and we said Aries. What does it mean? I am. Just enough so I can't really see them, but the I am, Aries. The Taurus is like money, possessions, values. Okay, so it's what we value about ourselves. I have. It's not just like physical possessions, it's our values of ourselves. I think, Mercury, third house. Nurturing, the fourth house. It's also the beginnings of life, the foundations. I serve. That's not correct. This is, I serve as the sixth house. The fifth house is the, I create. I bet he got lost out there. Let's see. No? Okay, it's the spirit wants to come in. Okay, so the fifth house is the creative house. So fifth house is Leo, and fifth house is children. And in addition to children, it's our creations. It's our projects. It's also how we celebrate. It's like being, and it's interesting with Leo. I just take Leo as an example. Leo is, the lion, and Leo likes to stand out and have his little entourage. Yeah. Oh, you flash your little fingers. Yes. But they're very playful. And they teach us about being playful in life and shining forth. Okay, it's all very important. But so each one of us has something in Leo. If it's not a planet, it'll be on one of these cusps, because whatever sign, zodiac sign, is on the cusp of these houses, these are called cusps, whatever planet is connected with that sign, you want to find out where that is in your chart. It tells you something. So it's an and, putting the pieces together. And I specifically tried not to be, I didn't want to complicate things, so I just kind of like came as simplified as possible, just to kind of get the overall sense of it. Okay, so the first house, I am. This is the seventh house. We are partnership. And whether it's a romantic, whether it's a significant other, more legal, or it's a work partner, I am, we are partners. If it was more romantic, it would be in the fifth house, the Leo house, creativity and all that. Okay, I have, we have shared resources in the eighth house, transformation, sex, death, transformation, regeneration. So all, some people are kind of like, oh, they're afraid of certain signs. It's about depth. It's about being able to go deep. There are no good signs, no bad signs. They just are, and it's about working with the energies of what they are. Sagittarius. So let's go this way as well. I am Mars, right? I am birth. I have Taurus, Venus, connected with that. Third house, I think Gemini, Mercury. Right? Fourth house, I nurture, Cancer, Moon. Fifth house, I create. Sorry about that, I just noticed that now. I create, Leo, and the Sun. The Sun is very happy there. Sixth house, I serve, Virgo. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. Seventh house, partners, Libra, connected with Venus. Eighth house, Scorpio, has a dual ruler of Mars in the olden days and Pluto now. So both of them are really connected with that. In the ninth house, higher studies. Now down here we have learning, neighbors, elementary school. Up here we have college, travel. So similarities. This is the goddess. This is religion. So, you know, it's an interesting relationship that they have. So I explore Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, or connected with Jupiter. And it's about, you know, if you see the glyph for Jupiter, it's the arrow shooting up into the heavens or wherever it's going. Okay, 10th house is Capricorn. I achieve. It's the pinnacle of things. Working, right? It's career. 11th house, Aquarius. I aspire. It's hopes and dreams and wishes, friendships, organizations. So if you have, like I have my son in the 11th house. So I just naturally gravitate to groups. I'm a very independent person, but I like things like this, and it's also kind of associated with Aquarius. So I like humanitarian things, changing not just myself, but the planet. And the 12th is the I dream. It's the Neptunian Pluto area of life. It can be more internal. Now some people look at this is the good house, this is the bad house. Same like the signs, same like the planet. No good planet, no bad planet. No good signs, no bad sign. But some are better at some things and better at other things, you know? So that's really a key to learn. So here we have the circle of spirit, the cross of matter, and the crescent or half circle of the soul. And that's what we talked about, each one of those. So here's an interesting thing to do. And if you take a piece of paper out, or you just do that at home, write down all the planets and see just once you get to do the sun, and once you get to do the moon and all the, and then you want to look at the sign that they're in, and then the house that they're in. And if you do that for yourself, it'll really, and if you write the sign, learn how to do the glyph, right? And it'll be interesting to see, is it a cardinal house, fixed house, mutable house? And you just get to see a little bit more about yourself. Okay, so, and then we have aspects. Now people are going to be talking about aspects. This is conjunct, this is square, this is opposite. Okay, so what does it mean, conjunction? When two things come together, they're conjunct, right? And so it means both of their energies blend together. So we talked about Saturn earlier, and Saturn conjuncting Neptune. It's going to go in Pisces. It's going to be, and that's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to when that happens. So that's conjunct. And in your charts, what do you have conjunct? What's conjunct? How do those relate to each other? A lot of people have Venus and Mars conjunct because they have a similar cycle. And Venus and Mars can only be a certain distance away from the sun because it just has to do with their cycle. Sextile. So a conjunction is 0 degrees. Out of 360 degrees, conjunction is 0. Sextile. Sextile is 60 degrees, so it's not this next sign, it's a sign after that. So it's 2 signs away from, like Aries and not Taurus, Aries and Gemini are connected. And they both happen to be yang signs. It's yin yang, going through the whole chart. Masculine. One is fire, one is air. Fire and air work together. Earth and water. What does it create? Mud. You build with it, right? And then you have the square. And the square is 90 degrees. So if you go around in a circle, you've got conjunctions, you've got the sextiles, you've got the trine, harmonics, trine, right? 120 degrees. Good and bad. I mean, I know a lot of people who have a lot of trines in their chart, and they just never really knew how to deal with adversity, because life was easy for them. Everything came to them so easily. Okay? And then you've got opposition. So every full moon we experience an opposition with the sun and the moon. They're totally opposing each other, right? So with an opposition, what I have found is that the thing about oppositions, you can meet in the middle. You can kind of like blend it in the middle. I've had really wonderful relationships with opposing people. It kind of like works like that. All right, so, and then we have, here's the whole chart. And look, we've got the first house, all the houses, and we've got Aries, Mars, and there's the glyph. Taurus, and there's the glyph of Venus, and there's Mercury, and there's the moon. I thought I had another chart in here, but I don't. And so you can see in Scorpio, we've got both Pluto and Mars. Can you kind of like recognize the symbols for the planets? Does it make sense? Can you kind of read it without looking at, the writing there? And then we've got, here's the symbol for, what's that symbol there? Anybody remember? We talked, is it? Sagittarius. It's the arrow shooting up. It's the archer shooting up into the sky, the Saturn. Jupiter. And we got each one of the planets and each one of the signs. And Aquarius, it's always, and this is an old symbol for Uranus. I don't quite understand that one, but. So Aquarius has a dual rulership, Pisces has two of them, and Mars has two. But anyway, you're going to be, each one of these symbols, each one of these signs falls somewhere in your chart. Okay, so, all right, so I want to recommend a couple of places for you to look online for free, some really wonderful. Once you start really exploring, there's a plethora of things. So the pattern, there's an app called The Pattern, and it's created by the founder of Shamanic Astrology, Daniel Giammario. Doesn't talk astrology at all. But it's like somebody's reading your mind. And you can sign up for it free, and you put in your information, and you'll get like notifications about really what's happening in your life. He now has a little bit, he'll have the symbols there, which I appreciate as an astrologer. But if you don't know anything about astrology, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of like, it's really mind-boggling. And then there's also another program called Lila, L-I-L-A, and that's by Stephen Forrest, who's an evolutionary astrologer. Now there's all these different schools of astrology that focus on different things. Okay, evolutionary astrology is using a lot of Pluto, which is very transformational, different perspectives that they focus on. Time Passages has a free application for your phone. And you can just get it for yourself and do your own chart, and it'll give you updates, and you can explore, and it's got a great tutorial in there. It'll tell you everything. Or it's very reasonable to get it and to do all your friends and everything as well. As far as internet, Astrology Hub has wonderful webinars, a lot of free things all week long. Some of the best astrologers. And they have subscription programs as well, but they've got a lot of wonderful free things. You can learn a lot there. And then there is also called and actually Rick Levine does a lot, Astrology Hub. And during the pandemic, every week he was on, and it was just a was so wonderful to have like an update of really what was going on. And he can hold forth on just about anything. It's just really remarkable. And then the astrology podcast is Chris Brennan, and he wrote a big tome, like big book on Hellenistic astrology, which is a little bit different, but he's wonderful people on there. And they're long, they're like 3-hour podcasts. And then, and there's many others out there. You can find me on Facebook, your astrology curator, and what I like to do is to take the best of what people have to offer. And I like to, I transcribe a lot of stuff. I just do, you know. I just don't like just listening to it. I like to be able to read it and to go back to it and really relate to it. So you'll find a lot of transcriptions on there. And my website is shimamore.com. And you're welcome to reach me there. And here's my mountain, Mount Shasta. I love it. And if you've never been there, how many of you have never been there?
We almost drove past it in the middle of the night.
Oh, you don't want to drive past in the middle of the night. You know, but it's funny because it's not easy to get to. I mean, you could drive to it, but public transportation leaves, like the train leaves like 1 o'clock in the morning and arrives 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, so and the airports are an hour and something away in each direction, so it's not like convenient, which I don't really mind because if you're supposed to be there, you'll take the added effort to get there. If not, you won't. But if you get a chance to go there, it's beautiful, all different kinds of year. The summer, of course, is a lot of people visit. But again, where heaven meets earth, very astrological. Okay, and on that note, I'm going to actually end with a brief meditation with the Stargate. And we started the Stargate at the opening ceremony. And actually, since I'm going to do that, maybe I can actually do music. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Let's see. Now I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do different music this time. All right. So just get comfortable. Close your eyes. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the Stargate before we start. Okay. The Stargate's an interdimensional portal. And there are a group of guides that go by the name of Alcazar. And it blows it's just really very mind-boggling. There are talk about free things online if you go to thestargateexperience.com. Actually, if you go to YouTube and you look up the Stargate Experience, I'm amazed. I was looking over this weekend and was like, oh my gosh, there is so much available. And the meditations are fabulous. I've done a lot of intensive, like 4 days of going into other realms. It's beyond belief. And I became a facilitator myself in 2015, and I was actually their coordinator in the Bay Area. I brought them to coordinate their activities in the Bay Area because that's where I was living at the time. And then I started coming up here, to Mount Shasta, and the mountain finally said, come on. And I've never looked back, and I just love it. And it's nice to come to LA from time to time, but I'm so happy there. So this is a Stargate, and you can see, and I actually love it, the perspective from the top down. I think oftentimes I always think, oh, that's what the galactics would see as they're looking down, and it's like a beautiful mandala circle. But it was created maybe this time I'd say about 35, 40 years ago, and it was created by a man whose name is Pradeep Harris, and he and a younger woman, Julianne Connor, they are both channels for Alcazar. And they bring in these beings, and you know, the mind, the rational mind kind of goes, huh? But the experience is spectacular. So I invite you really to check it out. And so we're going to do a little brief Stargate meditation. And just to set you on your way for the weekend. And I want to thank you for being here. And hope to see you tomorrow. You know, we got a lot of things going on tonight. I don't know what time we even go till. It's going to go late. Downstairs in the rabbit hole, there's going to be music. There's a reception across the hall. Everyone's invited to that. So we have a lot of things for everyone so you can meet, greet, connect with your favorite people, with each other. Such a time to be back together. And that's really what we love doing the best. 2021, you know, it was nice to be online, but we had it. It was good that we did it. But nothing like being live and heart to heart. And if you meet someone, give them a hug, feel the energy, and just connect. Because that's really what it's all about. And we have Expo's Got Talent tomorrow night, and book awards. I mean, it's just, we've been working on this since last March. So it's been just kind of like right after last Expo we started going again. So it's been a while. Okay, so now I'm going to have you take a breath. Just close your eyes. Relax. And let's see if we can get some music going on here. Let's see. Here we go. Great. Okay. And the Stargate accelerates the energy in the room. And just let yourself relax. Follow your breath, tune into your heart. And we're going to invite the energy. We always start by inviting the energy of Gaia, of Mama Earth, to come up into our body, to come up into our energy field, come up into the room. Nothing to do. And we're all going to ask inside. We call for the energy of Gaia. And just feel as the energy of Gaia rises up into your body. And we're going to activate the Stargate. We're going to call in an etheric Stargate. An etheric Stargate is the energy, the consciousness of the Stargate. And you can actually call for the energy of a Stargate wherever you are. And just breathe, and we're going to call for the energy of the etheric Stargate to come through. You can imagine it around you, encircling you. If you're lying in bed, you can have it over your bed. Sitting, lying down, doesn't matter. Nothing to do, just to feel. And each time, it's a little different. And just allow for the possibility that this can be for you. And we're going to activate the Stargate. We're going to go from the third dimension. We're going to shoot right up into the seventh dimension. Just feel the energy, the vibration, the field just getting faster and faster. Just feel as the energy, the frequencies are faster and faster. Just feel, nothing to do. All the dimensions are all here, all now, at all times. It's just our consciousness, tuning into them, allowing, rising, letting the energy rise. And now we're going to continue up until the eighth level frequency, ninth dimension, faster, 10th dimension, faster at 11th, and at the 12th dimension we're going to pause, and each one of us inside asking for a strong 12th dimensional energetic frequency. We call for a strong 12th dimensional energy frequency. And just feel. Just allowing yourself to feel this different frequency. Some people feel it, can see it. Some people feel different colors. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is for you is perfect. And in this 12th energetic level, we're going to call for the angelic realm. We invited them in earlier. The angels have been with humanity since the beginning of time. Most people are familiar with them around the globe, so it's easy for them to come. Invite them to come close if you like. Nothing to do. The angels. And then we're going to call, inviting in the energy again of the divine feminine, Mother Mary, the Blessed Mother, who's known throughout the world, divine feminine. She's there for us. She loves her children. She loves humanity. And she's there for us. Mother Mary. Just inviting her. We call for the energy of the Divine Mother, Mother Mary. Very good. And we're going to call for the energy from the east of Gautama the Buddha. These are beings, these are familiar beings with the Stargate. And as we get more and more familiar with the Stargate, many more ascended masters make their presence known. But just feeling comfortable in the energy of the Buddha. We call for the energy of the Buddha, Gautama the Buddha. And just feel as he comes in, as his energy fills the room. Feel free to invite him closer if you like. And we're also going to call in the energy from Isis. She's here. Her energy is here at the Expo this weekend. Very, very palpable in many cases. Calling for the energy of Isis, another manifestation of the Divine Mother. Call for Isis. And from the energy of Mount Shasta, calling forth Saint Germain. He's been here in many incarnations through the times, the violet ray, the violet flame. We call for the energy, each of us asking inside, we call for the energy of Saint Germain. And just feel. And let us call for the energy of Mount Shasta, the divine mountain, the sacred mountain to many around the world, home to the Telosians, fifth dimensional beings. Mount Shasta, just feel. It's allowing for the possibility. Watching the sunlight glisten on the white crystal of the mountain each day, bringing the heavens to earth, Mount Shasta. And let us bring some of our star families. There's so many. We can call for our own star families. Let's just ask for the energy of our star families, known or unknown to us. We call for the energy of our star families to come, to be with us, to help awaken us this weekend, today, in our lives, as we continue to grow, as we continue to open in our lives. Bringing in the energy of the whales and the dolphins from Sirius. The whales and the dolphins, the Sirians here on Earth. We call for the energy of the whales and the dolphins. And earlier at the opening ceremony, we acknowledged the Galactic Command above the Hilton as we activated the Stargate. And we're going to call for the energy of the Galactic Command. And actually the Galactic Command would like to send a transmission down. And if you're receptive, just say yes internally. And if not, it's okay as well. No, thank you, not now. It's okay. But let us invite the energy of the Galactic Command, the transmission, which they are starting now. And just feel. And the energy of the Stargate, for some it's healing experience for them on many different levels. And all of these benevolent beings throughout the universe are cheering on for humanity, for our evolution, our consciousness, to raise as we shift into our crystalline nature. Just feel the beauty and the blessings of all of those, our guides, our higher self, coming down to bless us all. feel in your heart. And when it's time, just feel your feet on the floor, feel yourself back in the room. Slowly, slowly, coming back into the room, into your body. Breathing. When you're ready, open your eyes. And if you have water, it's always a good idea to drink water to really ground it in you. So I hope that was nice and relaxing for you. Would anybody like to share their experience? I have a moment. Yes.
It's quite strong.
Could you feel it? Yes, what did you feel?
Almost as if there was a force inside of my mind to appease the mind chatter for me to sink into the realms. There was a gravity to it, but yet a lightness.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. That's why, now the stargates can go on for a long time, usually it's a whole day intensive. But even I have found just like brief little stargates can change the energy in the room, just change my own energy. And it's really a beautiful, beautiful way to go about it. It must be at the end because I'm ringing. What is this? Okay. So I want to thank you all for coming. I so appreciate you. All of the workshops on this side, the panels, the workshops, they'll all be available. There'll be CDs of them. We still do CDs. Probably starting tomorrow morning, they're starting to tape them now. And they're only here, so be sure and get a copy of whatever you'd like over the weekend while you're here. And I want to thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Miss Shima, I have a quick question.
Yes, darling.
So for the moon chart, do you have to have like a birth time you need to know specifically? That's part of the reason why I've never tried it, because I don't know it.
Yes, you know. So here's the thing. You can. Kaylin, I good to see you.
Yeah.
Kaylin Castell, who I've mentioned several times. Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. Kaylin, birth time. What about not a birth time?
What about not a birth time?
She can't find a
Oh.
birth time.
So you can put Jupiter on the ascendant.
Okay.
Or you can just look at put a noon time on
Like
the chart.
noon?
Just
Noon.
Just a noon time?
It'll tell you a lot.
It'll tell you a lot. It'll tell you 70 to 80% of everything you need to know.
So much more than a sun sign thing. It's much more in depth. The noon gives you like the moon, unless the moon is like 29 degrees or 1 or 2 degrees. But otherwise, it'll give you a lot of information. Yes. When's your birthday?
February 15th.
Oh, happy birthday! Coming up.
Yes.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Coming up quick.
Very good.
Do you mind if we get a picture with you, Miss Shima?
I would love, sure. You want to come up with a Stargate? Or?
Would you?
I did not. Genoa Panther, I think her name is. Yes, and she has a booth here. It's down in the
Maybe I
in the,
can't.
in the rabbit hole. Aren't they lovely? Yes, I don't know where she is, but yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, hold on. Let me just put a little step. Because otherwise I have no lips.
Do you want us to go up there?
Yeah, why don't you come up here? I'm like, getting up and down is not my best. Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Oh, wait, let me take my glasses off.
All right, ready, set, go. You want a couple more?
Do a couple.
Just in case we bleed. Thank
All right, ready, set, go. And ready, set, go.
Thank you.
you so much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where are you from?
Fresno, so we drove here just today, 4 hours.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Can I ask a
Hello.
question about Mount Shasta?
Yes.
I have the Beyond Lemuria oracle cards, and Mount Shasta card keeps coming up.
Oh.
I want to
Yeah.
live here in Los Angeles.
Yes.
If I threw it directly
Yes.
into the card,
Yes.
would that work?
I think that's the best way to go.
Okay.
Yes. I fly out of Reading
Oh, okay.
whenever I can.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That was my question too, because I live here now.
Oh, yes, I like flying into Reading.
Yeah.
But a lot of people fly into Medford. But I have family in Reading, so they're very good for me.
So when you do those Stargate things,
Yes.
do you get a visual of yourself? Do you get a visual of
I get where I'm
clients?
feeling. Every once in a while I get a visual. Not very much. I'm always like delighted when I do, but I'm not so much visual.
Oh, okay.
Some people are. Oh, I see colors and I see this and that. Oh, and so and I felt a tap on my shoulder and I felt this or oh, I don't have. I actually did a Stargate. It was a New Year Stargate. Thank you so much. I did a New Year Stargate. I didn't do it. I actually did it. I had so much going on. It was right in Mount Shasta, but I did it online. I did it a live stream. And it was so fabulous. And I was home myself, and I found myself really like processing. I wasn't anticipating that. That doesn't always happen. But I just let go of so much stuff. Whoops. I let go of so much stuff.
So the previous year stuff, or just it was just buried in
Lifetime stuff. It's lifetimes. And I just kind of, I just found that I felt so much better than I had been feeling. You know, that I didn't realize that I was holding on to this, that, and the other. But,
So now is my question for you. I guess everybody gets a different experience based on how they get in from how they receive or what they're.
yes, it's different, and I just think it's perfect, you know, and the rational mind kind of goes, huh? You
Well,
know?
I wasn't being rational.
No, I'm not saying you.
Until I came back in and I'm like, well then, I know what I was experiencing, but I think it is probably completely different than what everybody
I'm
else
sure it was.
is.
I'm sure it was, yes.
That was my question.
Yes. Come up to Mount Shasta.
I was gonna go this last summer and never made it.
Well, there's this summer coming.
So I couldn't decide whether to drive, which I didn't want to do.
Thank you.
So
Let's
thank
see.
you for that.
Yes.
Hi, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm an astrologer and a fan.
Oh, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Cassandra. I come in from Buffalo, New York.
Oh,
And,
you've got your power of practice.
Yes.
Three-dimensional. I love it.
And
Oh,
usually
I haven't been there yet. And it's ISIS.
When you called in ISIS,
See,
I went
I've
to her
never
temple.
called in ISIS before.
I went to her temple.
Must have been for you.
It was absolutely for, really? Yeah.
I don't usually call in ISIS. But it's like, okay,
She's
here she
she's
is.
my new gal. I was in
Ah.
trauma when I was visiting there because my son was having a trauma, and she took care of it because I couldn't really help him.
Right. Right. I like your glasses.
Awesome. Thank
So,
you.
so this is Kaylin, and thank you.
Sweetheart.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cassandra.